everybody. Welcome to a live episode of Mornings with the Outlaw here with the Outlaw, John Rocha, here live from Beverly Hills in the Outlaw Nation studios, also known as my place. Having a good time this morning. Got a lot of stuff to get into. Thank you all so much for joining me. We're doing a little old school Mornings with the Outlaw this morning because we do not have Alex this morning. Unfortunately, she had some housing issues that she had to handle. I don't want to get into it too much in case she hasn't talked about it publicly with anyone, but she's had some stuff she's had to handle this morning. So unfortunately, she will not be joining me for the show, but that does not mean the show doesn't go on. So we're going to do an old school Mornings with the Outlaw with just me hanging out with you all, doing our thing and talk a little news. Probably only going to be about an hour long episode without Alex. You know, usually it's good banter between me and her, good fun back and forth. But maybe some of you all want to chime in with your Streamlabs and your Super Chats, kind of keep the conversation going. And if it gets lively, then maybe some of you want to come in live. Maybe we'll do a little mini version of the Outlaw Nation show, bring some of y'all in live to ask your questions in the last 15, 20 minutes of the show as we cross the 9:30 mark. I do have to do SEN live at 10 a.m. this morning, so I'm excited about that. Also, another reason to be excited today, it's my 2-year anniversary. That's right. My 2-year anniversary with the Lady Outlaw. We are celebrating it tonight, of course, with COVID and everything. We're very limited with the way we can celebrate it, but look what was waiting for me on the desk. Surprised me. We said no cards. We said no gifts. I should have known. So I haven't even opened it yet to bask in her nice words and her words of love for me. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to step up myself and get her something. We had said no cards and no gifts. I should have listened. I should have known that she'd surprise me with something. So that's on me, but I'll get her something to surprise her with as well. Also, just a quick announcement. I don't think we'll be having an Outlaw Nation show tonight. I did not book a guest because it's our anniversary, but maybe, just maybe, if she's in the mood after we've had our dinner, I might be able to talk her into coming on and doing an impromptu Outlaw Nation show with just me and her talking about our journey, talking about our lives and the experiences she's had on the other side of the Schmodown situation. And also as she's seen me build this thing and as I've seen her build her thing, maybe a bit of conversation. So stay tuned for an impromptu announcement at some point, maybe later tonight that it's going to be happening. So would be a lot of fun. I'd be down for it, but I don't know what mood she'll be in and if she'll be exhausted or tired from the day at work and us hanging out having dinner and we'll want to go to sleep. Plus, we're still working our way through Umbrella Academy season 2, so we haven't finished that yet. I know as a good YouTuber, I should have finished it by now and done the review, but to be honest with you, I kind of like to enjoy these things with my lady, so I don't rush them necessarily as strongly through that stuff as I would in other situations. All right, real quick, let's see. We've got some Streamlabs already that have come through here. We're going to talk about a lot of things today, a little Tron 3 conversation. Of course, what happened at DC Universe and DC Comics yesterday, huge layoffs going there. We're going to touch on that as well. We're going to touch about Zac Efron rebooting 3 Men and a Baby. Who's asking for that? But apparently it's happening. We're also going to talk about the new actress who was cast in that Rogue One, a Star Wars story prequel with Diego Luna. We're going to touch on Hilary Swank's new trailer for that space movie Away. And then we got one more subject that we're going to get to, and that's Lakeith Stanfield. What happened with him last night? Some of you were probably monitoring that yourselves. Pretty unsettling situation initially, but seems like everything was okay. We'll get into all of that. But first, I want to thank everybody who subscribed over the last few hours to the Outlaw Nation channel. General Avocado, J Moore 2175, Great Scott, Dan 93703, The Silent Man, The Great Movie Roar, Rhea Ruiz, the Cinemaster, and Hitman Hudson subscribed just this morning. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let me see what we got going on here on this side. How many of y'all we got rolling with us? About 75 rolling with us live now and enjoying us. Please hit that like button. We'd really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button. Give us some love here on the Outlaw Nation channel and on the Outlaw Nation network and on the Mornings with the Outlaw. 42 likes, 75 of y'all watching us. So let's see what y'all have to say. Or let's see, let's get going here. Say hello to Haskell. What's up? Jason Earhart, how are you? MK Songbird. Hello. Andrew G. What's up? What's up? Up there in Canada. Jay Scafario from his attic. Thank you, Jay. Good to see you. Jason, I already said hi to Jason. Oh, you guys are having Michael Nip, what's going down? Movie Master 83. Good to see you. Trevor G. Let's see. Ben Rayner, how are you, Ben? Good to see you. Let's see who else we got. Travis Earl, what's up, Travis? Justin Towns is in here. Daniel Haygood as well. Tushka Productions, what's going down? Nizgarda is in here. Do it for cash. Absolutely. Do it for cash. And he says, GM, Outlaw Nation. Good morning, Outlaw Nation. Thank you so much. Daniel Haygood. Let's see. Draws Walker 9 is rolling through here. Thank you very much. Oh, Ladio sending in happy anniversaries. Appreciate it. Nizgarda says, when a woman says no gifts, it means gifts. It's true. It's true. I'm done with these kind of things. Sorry. Ronnie Padilla, thank you so much for that nice wish. Alan Smithy, thank you, my man. Good to see you up in here rolling through these things. Xavier Black Wiley, how are you? Let's see. Haskell, just a thought. Take the night off, celebrate your love for one another. Then maybe in a few weeks have her as a guest. Yeah, maybe. Could be a way to go. AB Young Grome, good to see you. Stephen Castillo, hello. Ambling Soul, hello. Eric Stevenson, hello. Adam Ward, hello. And Darth Niner, hello. We already have 2 Streamlabs that rolled through here, or 3 of them actually. Thank you so much from Andrew G. Marvel apparently looking for Joel Kinnaman type for Spider-Man 3. What the hell does that even mean? Just go for Kinnaman if you want Kinnaman. Like when they said Allison Brie type for She-Hulk. What is that? Well, Andrew G, it's just their way of kind of putting stuff out there about what they're looking for. Yeah, I hear you what you're saying, but that's Hollywood. You ever seen The Player, right? The Player, the big joke amongst the players, everyone pitches their script like it's Die Hard meets blah blah blah. So that's the running joke amongst pitches, and so it's the same thing here. They're looking for a Joel Kinnaman type for Spider-Man 3. I don't know what Kinnaman's contract is with DC. Him playing Rick Flag over there on the Suicide Squad situation. He's coming back for the second movie, The Suicide Squad. So I don't know what his contract situation is there, and maybe he can't get out of it, so they're looking for a Joel Kinnaman type. I'd heard a lot of rumors yesterday about Craven, seeing some people suggesting some actors for Craven, suggesting that someone was going to appear in another film, and that person would become Craven later on and make the jump. I think it was the guy from Creed 2, the French dude from Creed 2 who fought Creed. Of course, he played Russian, but he fought Adonis Jackson. He fought him. So that's a possibility. Florent Mateo, I think his name is Florent Mateo. I think he's the one that they're looking at possibly for Craven, and I could totally get behind that. I thought I was watching Creed 2 over the weekend for like an hour. I thought he did a great job in that movie, so it'd be fun to see him try and take on even a weightier role and see what he can do with Craven, and it might be a lot of fun. With Allison Brie type as well. Yeah, that's just the way they work here in Hollywood, Andrew G. That's just the way it works. Jay Skyder for real donated. Thank you so much. Good morning, cowboys and cowgirls. If for some bizarre and unfortunate reason Daft Punk were unable to return to the franchise to score Tron 3, aka Tron Ares, which artists could you envision taking their place? Familiar with Aussie EDM band Art vs. Science? I have heard of Art vs. Science. I don't know if I've remembered any of their music, but I have heard them in passing because I have a bunch of friends who DJ and do EDM DJing around town. They like to call their sets crispy. For those of you who are into EDM, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would love to listen to Art and Science, maybe Art versus Science. Maybe I should put that on as a playlist later on today for myself. So I'm doing other things around the house in between my shows, all my shows today. I would see that. I'd like Benjamin Wolfish to give it a shot. I mean, I really enjoyed what he did with The Invisible Man, so it could be kind of fun to see what he's got going on and his point of view with it for sure. Ben Rayner donated and said, "Hey, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much. Very nice donation there. Hey, John, happy Tuesday. Hope you had a good weekend. Which do you want more? Cavill back as Superman, Keaton in a Flash movie, Cavill back as Superman, Keaton in a Flash movie, or a written and directed Affleck Batman movie if you could choose one of those? One of those three. I'm assuming you mean three. Cavill back as Superman, Keaton in a Flash movie, or a written and directed Affleck Batman movie. That's a good question. Yeah, I'd have to go with Cavill as Superman, to be honest with you. Look, I know Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. I'm saying I don't know Michael Keaton personally. I'm saying I know Michael Keaton was great in the role of Batman and Bruce Wayne. People love and revere that 89 Batman and Batman Returns, which I enjoy myself still. And I think he's great to be coming back. And exciting to see him back in a Flash movie. But I mean, if they do that Flashpoint situation where they're jumping it, I mean, it's essentially a glorified Crisis on Infinite Earths, which we've already seen in the CW, right? I mean, we've already gotten a taste of that. But Cavill back as Superman after all the hoopla, all the issues, all the stuff that WB was supposedly doing with that or not doing with that, I think would be interesting. And I think that's more where I would lean. A written and directed Batman Affleck movie would be great, but you can't look at that in the vacuum, right? Because Affleck said that that's what really instigated his tumble down the addiction train again, or addiction mountain again, was that situation. So I personally wouldn't like to see it, because I don't want anything to happen to Ben Affleck, who I actually enjoy as an actor and as a director. So my choice is Cavill back as Superman. That'd be the one I'd fight for the most, because I think he has a right to take another shot at this thing. Whereas Ben's played Batman, right, in a couple of movies now. Keaton as well, a couple of movies as Batman, but I don't know it was a cameo in Suicide Squad, but still, he had, or 3 movies now, I guess, if you include Justice League for sure. So, but with Cavill back as Superman, we did have him in Man of Steel, and we had him in Justice League a little bit, but I would rather him come back and have a full-on movie to explore that situation more, him and Lois Lane and what have you. So that's my choice there. So, but Ben, and I like it, a nice little Sophie's choice right off the bat, except she had 2 kids instead of 3. All right, taking my drink here. Let's jump in and see how many people are watching us live now. Got over 100 y'all watching me live. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. 51 likes. Let's get those likes up. Hit that thumbs up button. Get into things right now. Predictions on the Schmodown pay-per-view this weekend, please. This is from AB Younggrom. £2. £2, please. £2 for the prediction. All right, well, I'll tell you. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think this is going to be a hell of a matchup between Final Exam and Shazam. I think I lean more towards Final Exam because they've been playing consistently. However, that mistake by Lon in the first round where he said where he didn't know he was supposed to answer the Mulan question, that doesn't bode well. Now, he's playful, he's got his character or whatever, and that's what you got to ask yourself. Is he too lost in the character to understand that the trivia is more important than the character? Winning is more important than the character. Or is he lost in the character? I don't doubt Oyama. Oyama looks reinvigorated on this team with Lon. However, when you're going up against Bibiani and you're going up against the kid, those are 2 tough customers who play their characters and show up and do their trivia thing. So I think I see more holes in Final Exam because of Lon than I do in Shazam with Bibiani and the kid. And to hear more of that, of my thoughts on this, tune into Backstage later today at 12:30 with me and Ben Bateman going live. We're going to talk about our thoughts on what we got coming up. We're going to recap the matches from last pay-per-view on Friday, which was great, and then also talk about and preview the Merle versus Irwin match coming up this Friday. So my prediction there, I think you know where I lean there. So, and I'll get into it a little bit later on Schmodown Backstage. But thank you, AB Younggrum. Keep those coming. Keep those Streamlabs and Super Chats coming, people. It's me and you all hang out today. It's a little old school mornings with the Outlaw. So please keep them coming. Answer your questions, and maybe I'll bring you all in live a little bit later. We can have a little one-on-one with ourselves having this conversation as well. All right, let's jump into our first story. And the first story has to be something that I personally am excited about, and that is the idea that Tron 3 is on its way. This news broke yesterday that they have found a director for this 3rd installment in the Tron franchise. It is back on the grid. Garth Davis, who's the filmmaker known for the Oscar-nominated Lion film. Remember that film with Dev Patel and Nicole Kidman, where he plays Dev Patel plays the older version of a young kid who was left or got lost at a train station and was raised by this white woman in Nicole Kidman, and then eventually wants to go back and get reunited with his family. I think it is based on a true story. Anyway, he directed that film. The film is really, really good. And this is from the Hollywood Reporter. They have confirmed that Garth Davis is attached to direct the movie and that Jared Leto has been attached to the project that has been apparently gestating over there at Disney since 2017. Remember, the first film came out in 1982 with Jeff Bridges, and it became a cult classic. People enjoyed that movie so much so that eventually in 2010, there was a sequel called Tron Legacy, which brought back Bruce Boxleitner and Jeff Bridges, 2 of the original stars from the first Tron movie in 82, but also featured Garrett Hedlund as the son of Jeff Bridges' character, Flynn, and Olivia Wilde, who's fantastic in the movie. If you haven't seen Olivia Wilde in that movie, she is absolutely fantastic and gorgeous as hell as well in that film. Leto wrote on Instagram about this. He said, "I'm struck with such gratitude for the opportunity to bring this movie to life is what he's saying, to life, to bring it to life. Let me keep going with this. Especially as both the original video game and the film affected me so deeply as a young child. The fact that I get to be part of this new chapter is mind-blowing. Now, Tron Legacy was directed by Joseph Kosinski. It made $400 million worldwide. Don't let people tell you that thing just kind of came and went. It made $400 million worldwide, especially off a cult classic from the 80s. I'm sure Denis Villeneuve and WB would love to have made $400 million worthwhide on Blade Runner 2049, which was also a sequel to a cult classic from the 80s. Let's see, which at one time they considered making Tron a streaming show from John Ridley. Of course, for those of you who are animation fans, you remember Tron Uprising, which was fantastic. If you haven't watched that yet, please get on it. Jesse Wigato apparently wrote the latest draft of the third Tron movie, and Leto is producing with Justin Springer and Emma Ludbrook. Davis, who is rep by UTA, also directed Mary Magdalene in 2018, as well as episodes of Top of the Lake. Top of the Lake, fantastic British show. If you haven't watched that yet, with Elizabeth Moss, really good show. Go and get involved in that. I think it's on Netflix or on Amazon Prime. It's on those streaming services for sure. You want to see what Elizabeth Moss was doing in Invisible Man. Kind of see her working out those muscles that she uses in Invisible Man. Watch Top of the Lake. A lot of it there for her to enjoy. So it looks like it's happening. I love this idea because I'm a massive fan of Tron. I'm one of those people that turned it into a cult classic. I bought every version of it, Blu-ray and otherwise, here in the world. So I'm a massive fan. I'm excited to see what can happen with this Tron 3. What's the story going to be? Remember, by the end, we had them leaving the grid there and going back, her and Olivia Wilde and Garrett Hedlund. So are they bringing them back? What is Jared Leto's take on this? Is Jared Leto going to play the Garrett Hedlund character 10 years later or 12 years later, whenever this comes out? Is that the situation that we're dealing with here? I wonder, because obviously Garrett Hedlund probably not coming back to this. I don't know if Olivia Wilde is coming back to this, but or maybe they're not even touching with Flynn at all. Maybe it's not even a Flynn story at all. It's his own thing that walks its own path, but is still connected to the grid. Maybe there's more going on here. Was it Clue? Was it Clue who was who was the evil Jeff Bridges, younger Jeff Bridges character down there? Maybe he found a way to get out, and maybe Jared Leto has to combat that. I don't know. But either way, I'm excited about this. The visuals of Tron are fantastic. And of course, you've got those light cycles opening up, I think, sometime in the States very soon, that ride. I know it's open in Shanghai, China. So maybe it's probably going to coincide with the opening of that show here in the United States to make it exciting and have that synergy going between both situations. Larry Lee says, guys, hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. I agree. Hit that like button. Travis Earl, Tron Legacy was amazing in IMAX 3D. I agree. It was damn good in IMAX 3D. It was a hell of an experience. It was one of the last 3D discs I ever bought. Was Tron Legacy before I kind of gave up on 3D and sold my television and the discs. I still have the discs roaming around. I should probably just give them to Hector Navarro as a gift because screw it. What am I going to do with them? Rizamic says, favorite Universal Wizarding World line, quote from your time there. Great question, Reese. Damn, that's a great question. You know, I was going through some old stuff the other day, and I found the script and I was all like highlighted and annotated, everything like that. It's been a while. What was my favorite line? God, that's a great question. I'd have to think about it. I don't want to go through the whole. I say, welcome to all this. Makers of fine ones, and Harry Potter. I think it would have to be the last line where I said to them, you know, go out and do your magic and make sure you're responsible with this magic and use it well. You are a wizard. You are a young wizard in training now. Be quite careful with how you use this magic. And of course, it means more than just using the magic. It's more a matter of like you yourself as a person. What is the magic you have? Make sure you use it responsibly and for something good. So I guess that would be the good line, the best line that I said at the end. For lack of a better term, because I don't remember every line right now offhand. It's been a few years, so it's been a bit since I've had to kind of recall that that situation. But maybe I can reach out to some of my wand keepers and see what they would say. We'll see. Anyway, well, this is interesting. A lot of people responding. Yeah, that Tron Legacy soundtrack, absolutely. I love that Tron Legacy soundtrack. Oh, wait, is he asking? Wait, someone's going, you're a wizard here. Is he asking from what's your Universal Wizarding World line quote from your time? Yeah, okay. So he's asking from my time there, not from the movies. Want to make sure. Because my favorite lines are the Sirius Black lines from the actual movie itself, movies rather itself. Pretty much most of what Sirius Black says to Harry are my favorite ones. So, Adam Moore says, Rocha, you had a great story of you diffusing an argument between the patrons while staying in character. Great job. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a hell of a day. That wasn't the only time I did that. There were like 3 separate situations where I had to step in and kind of stop people from getting into arguments, because our staff was they're such young kids, they were wand helpers, but they were such young kids. There were rarely any like big dudes or big people to stop stuff from happening. So if I was around and there was a situation popping off, I felt like I had to step in and kind of corral the situation rather than letting the young kids like bear the brunt. Because you never know. If it gets physical, you don't want these young kids to be damaged in any way by somebody losing their cool and swinging and striking or whatever. So I liked to throw myself in between people when they were doing that kind of stuff. I actually take pride in diffusing situations. I know this might be ironic to a lot of you because I enjoy going at people sometimes, but I actually take pride in diffusing situations because you don't want people to be swinging and getting into these kinds of situations, especially when you're at a park in a land that's supposed to be about positivity and magic and people kind of feeling comfortable to be themselves and be open in an environment like that. And you don't want kids to see adults getting into physical altercations with each other simply because someone got into the room quicker or kind of like cheated by getting in front. That kind of stuff, it doesn't help. It doesn't help, to be honest with you. So let's see here. Rocha, you got winning champ. Who you got winning the Champions League? I don't know. Barcelona, maybe. Barcelona. Although Manchester City looks good. I can't deny it. Manchester City's been on a run since they came back. So, yeah. It's cute, Rogue. So true. People who work at Universal are kids and newbies. Yeah, some of them, yeah. Some of them, yes. Some of them, no. Some of them are lifers. I met a guy, or I got to know a guy who was a wand keeper, really nice guy. A gentleman had been there since the birth of the park. I think 85 or 86 he'd been there. And he's played Beetlejuice for over 30 years. And he has put his kids through college off what he makes at Universal Studios. So, yeah, it is definitely a starter job for some people, but for some people, it's a lifer job. People like to perform. People love the idea of getting out there with the crowds, getting out there with the patrons who come to the park and riffing and just riffing and improvising, because you never know what the patrons are going to give you. They change every day. They change every year. Every generation comes in with different things. So you have to play and adjust your jokes, adjust your humor to different things. I mean, one of my favorite characters that I never got to play, which I wish I'd gotten a chance to audition for, was being in the window, the New York window. I mean, I missed out. They kicked me out after the first round, and I was shocked. I literally look like a New Yorker, sound like a New Yorker. I can do the New Yorker accent and I can play, but I think there was a situation there where I was higher up on the roster for Harry Potter, so they didn't think there was a point in me going forward in the audition process when I wouldn't be moving up. I wouldn't be able to play or be there for as many hours. That's another thing you run into is like, okay, what's the situation there? So, all right, let's see. Let's see what we got next. Let's see. Do we have any more? Oh yeah, Andrew G. Jones, he said, well, what do you hope to see in this next Tron film? This is a Streamlab he sent through. Please keep sending in the Streamlabs and your super chats, my friends. Is that a direct continuation of the story from Legacy, or is that done? Do you want to see a new story not totally tied to the Flynns and ISOs? Do you want to see Sam and Quora back? Return of the MCP, perhaps? Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the return of MCP, to be honest with you, and maybe with Clue. Maybe in some way with Clue, maybe him and Clue working something out. I wouldn't be surprised because, of course, the grid is a reflection of who Flynn is as a person, right? When Flynn went into the grid initially, the MCP is there and what have you, but Tron is there too. So what's that a reflection of? And then if he took over the grid and created Clue, that's also a little bit of a reflection of who he is as a person. We all have those demons. We all have those self-destructive impulses. We all have those self-destructive voices in the back of our heads that kind of pop up in the most inopportune moments. So why wouldn't that be a possibility to explore? Because the grid is essentially a symbol of his mind or a stand-in for his mind. So why wouldn't that be possible? Do you want to be in the grid or do you want to be out in the world? Is this a Jumanji situation where they go out into the world now, and it's instead of the way it's gone in the last two films, which is they go from the outside world into that world? Do we have the inverse where we go from that world into the outside world? I think that would be interesting to explore. I don't know if we'll see Sam and Cora. There's been no conversations about Garrett Hedlund and Olivia Wilde. I imagine that would have been one of the first things they talked about. So the fact that they haven't makes me feel like they're not necessarily going to go and explore that Flynn storyline, at least so far as they explore Garrett Hedlund's character. But then again, like I said, it could be Jared Leto as the Garrett Hedlund character, as Flynn's son, just older, right? And maybe Cora, found her way to another direction. Maybe Cora gets killed, and maybe that's the whole situation. Maybe Clue comes out through Jared Leto and kills Cora. Or I mean, not through Jared Leto, but somebody comes out there as the villain and kills Cora. So that forces him to go back into the grid or back into that situation and confront that stuff. That's certainly possible. So I don't know what Olivia Wilde would be up for, but that's certainly something you could explore for sure with Tron 3. We'll see though. A lot to explore, a lot to go over for sure. But we'll see what. And Garth Davis is a director who tells small stories, and I don't mean small in terms of scope or small in terms of its effect on you when you watch a movie. I mean small in terms of intimate. These are intimate stories he tells. Mary Magdalene line. These are very intimate stories. So I have a feeling they hired Garth Davis because they want to tell more of a character-driven story. The issue with Legacy was the story was a bit convoluted, a bit weird, a bit out there, and not 100% what they're looking for. So maybe they want to base this Tron 3 in a little more of a foundational situation, a little more grounded approach to storytelling, and from there branch out and do the special effects and all the visual effects and all of that. That's certainly possible. I think that's more realistic of what they want to do, which is why you hire an actor like Garth Davis that grounds stuff in the emotional connection and the relationship of the characters, then branches out from there. So that may be why they're doing the things that they're doing. So we shall see. Tushka says, I feel that bringing Tron to the outside world is extremely difficult. Perhaps jumping back and forth from actions outside influence the grid with new leadership now that Clue and Flynn are terminated. But were they terminated? I don't know, Tushka. You know, that world is strange. But going back and forth between the worlds, what we've seen already in 1 and 2. So what would be new about that? Coming out into the real world, that could be new. That could be challenging. That could be interesting. So I like that idea more. I hear your point. They probably will default to that. But I feel like challenging themselves to go out into the real world and seeing what that would look like would be very interesting on my end. All right, let's see if we got any more Streamlabs or Super Chats. No, keep them coming, ladies and gentlemen, and please keep hitting that like button right at 100 likes. Thank you so much. 148 you all watching us live. Please keep us marching towards 150 before we wrap up the show. I'd appreciate that very much. All right, let's move on to our next story, and this is kind of a tough story to talk about, and that is to do with DC Comics and DC Universe. This was reported by The Hollywood Reporter yesterday. Boris Kitt specifically broke this, that the majority of the staff of the streaming service for DC Universe has been laid off, as has editor-in-chief Bob Harris and multiple other executives on the publishing side. Warner Media had layoffs as well, and affected a significant number of high-level figures at the comic book powerhouse that is DC Comics. A number of people were laid off during that. Laid off employees include Warner Brothers CFO Kim Williams, Warner Brothers Worldwide Television Distribution President Jeff Schlesinger, and Ron Sanders, the Warner Brothers President Worldwide of Theatrical Distribution and Home Entertainment, and Executive Vice President of International Business Operations. So, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, the pink slips were handed out in departments encompassing film and TV, and of course, come in the aftermath of the major restructuring that is going on that saw Warner Media Entertainment and direct-to-consumer chairman Bob Greenblatt and content chief and TBS, TNT, and True TV president Kevin Riley ousted last week. Remember, they were ousted last week. The cuts also follow a series of Hollywood layoffs and furloughs that have affected agencies like CAA and Endeavor, and studios like Universal, Disney, and Lionsgate. So this is all happening, of course, because of the for the coronavirus situation, but I think also because these corporations are wanting to streamline their flow, wanting to streamline how they get things happen, how they make things happen, and so for that reason, they're getting a lot of people are getting swallowed up in this situation, and sort of sadly losing their jobs. People with very, very big titles as well losing their jobs in this. Like I said, Editor-in-Chief Bob Harris, Senior VP of Publishing Strategy and Support Services Hank Canals has been let go as well. The VP of Marketing and Creative Services Jonah Wieland, VP of Global and Publishing Initiatives and Digital Strategy Bobby Chase, Senior Story Editor Brian Cunningham, and Executive Editor Mark Doyle, who oversaw the rollout of the Black Label graphic novels, which a lot of people have really enjoyed, those Black Label novels. Jim Lee, however, survived these cuts, and he remains the CCO over there at Warner Brothers and DC. Roughly 1/3 of DC's editorial ranks are being laid off, according to sources. Insiders also say the majority of the staff of the streaming service of DC Universe, as I said, has been laid off. DC Universe was DOA as soon as the AT&T merger happened, said one source. Remember that DC Universe launched in May 2018. It had Doom Patrol. There's Titans on there, Stargirl's on there, as well as Young Justice and Harley Quinn. But of course, some of those shows now have jumped over to HBO Max. I remember being back at Collider and we talked about what was the point of HBO Max if you have DC Universe. Like, why isn't DC Universe being folded in? Because people weren't that excited about DC Universe. I think Swamp Thing was on there. Remember that kind of crashed and burned for all the behind the scenes battles that were happening there. Also, a victim of the layoffs, DC Direct, the company's in-house merchandise and collectibles manufacturer. The division has been shuttered after 22 years. Wow. And that was rumored after Warner Brothers Consumer Products began taking a more active role in DC merchandising. So nobody wanted to speak about it on the record at this point. And this comes 2 weeks before we have that DC Fandome or DC Fandoomy situation on August 22nd. It's set to showcase stars from DC's film, TV, and comic book world. So this is a huge blow for people. A lot of people being affected by it. Certainly saw a lot of people talking about it on who were DC, part of the DC Daily Show that was also shuttered. I saw Clark Wolf talk about it. I saw Tiffany Smith. I saw Hector Navarro. A lot of people tweeting about it, sending their support and love to the people who've been laid off and let go in the wake of this whole restructuring that's happening. And it's a sad situation. I want to bring up something from a contact from a friend of mine who said, let's see here, 650 WB employees were fired today. 650. Maybe they said my friends. If my friend has friends in TV who got let go, but one person, all of them got let go by one person. And one VP is the only one that stayed. Pretty insane. They were part of the people that were let go were part of DCU, not just regular DC Entertainment. So that's a lot that's going through this here. That a lot of people that are getting burned out on this or burnt by this situation. They got rid of the heads of development and current and kept one lower level executive for each department. And probably that's a cost-cutting move as well. And you keep one lower level executive because that person has an idea of what's going on. They're not going to run what's going on, but they have an idea of what's going on, and they're coming in at a cheaper salary. That's another part of this too that people forget. The money, the more you make, the more, no matter how expensive, no matter how many skills you acquire, the more you make. You are in danger to be cut when restructurings start to happen, or in danger to be fired when restructurings start to happen. So unfortunately, we see this as well. Yeah, it's very sad news. I agree. A lot of people are being hurt by this. A lot of people being, this is, as I said, coming 2 weeks before that DC Fandome event, where it's supposed to be a celebration of all things DC, celebration of all the stuff they got coming up. But, it's always tough when you lay off so many people. But these companies, obviously, they took a look at this situation and decided that they got to make these cuts in order to survive and stay alive. The COVID situation has really affected a lot of people around this town. A lot of agencies, a lot of studios all of a sudden are laying people off and letting people go or converting them over to freelance work to do freelance for them. That's also what's happening too. Hugo Chavez says, is Mark Andreyko good? I don't know. Mark wasn't a full-time person, I don't think. Mark, a freelance writer, freelance creator for the comics. From what I understand, if he was a full-time person, I don't know. I haven't heard. I haven't seen him text about or tweet about it at all, so I don't know Yeah, and the DC toy situation, I know that Jason Inman was texting about that as well, or tweeting about that as well. He was pretty upset about that, losing that whole situation too. The toys seem to have been coming on really strong over the last few years. And of course, that Black Label, a lot of people were enjoying the Black Label comics, and so this is going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out. This is an unfortunate truth in life. Same thing happened to me, right? I got laid off at the beginning of the year because that outlet wanted to streamline their situation. They thought, well, we don't need to have video people on there anymore. And from what I understand, recently they cut all the editors as well. They fired all the editors. They fired Wendy, and they fully laid them off, fully let them go, cut their medical. Cut their health benefits with about 2 or 3 days warning, from what I understand. And that's the situation. These companies get ruthless when they have to survive and their money is on the line. Changes are made. Who did you suck up to? What's your money situation? How much experience do you have? Who do you know? Those things factor into this situation. But also, of course, with WB, Warner Media coming in, apparently they want to really streamline, and they cut people so they can see if it works. If it doesn't work, then they'll start adding people back or start looking at areas that need more people to be a part of it. That can happen as well. But, it's a sad day overall for a lot of people losing their jobs, especially in this economy, especially with unemployment numbers so high, and especially with a lot of states struggling to cover unemployment numbers. Seeing this stuff happen is a pretty sad situation, and these are the things that are the repercussions. This is what I tell people all the time. Nothing in the world happens in a vacuum. Nothing. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. The ignorance from the top down about COVID, this is why this is all happening. The inability to jump on this situation fully from the beginning in order to stop it from affecting businesses and stop it from affecting people is why we're in this situation. And the idiots who agree to this conspiracy situation or believe in this pandemic bullshit or don't wear their masks, this is the stuff. This is the repercussions. These are the consequences. These businesses, these studios, businesses across the country, sports possibly now, college football possibly on deck to be canceled. The NFL, I don't know what they're going to do, but if college football goes out, is the NFL that far away? And realistically, what's the MLB going to do? They're already talking about Major League Baseball, already talking about the playoffs, having the playoffs in a bubble. You know why? Because they see what the NBA is doing, and they're like, oh, yeah, that does work. Keeping everybody in-house where you can monitor them and test them all the time, that is the smart move, and it's no surprise that, homie up top there is trying to bash the NBA for what they did, because of Black Lives and all that, Black Lives Matter, and them being putting protest messages. Of course, it hurts him, so he's crying like a little baby about it. But the truth is, he's the reason. Him and the people who came out and launched their strategies from the top down about not wearing masks, about not shutting down these things, about thinking it's all just going to magically go away. All this bullshit, now we're all paying for it. Now we're all paying for it as a country. We're all paying for it economically. We're all paying for it physically. Some people health-wise are paying for it. Some people are losing family members. This is the repercussions. Again, nothing is in a vacuum. Nothing. You look down in Florida, I read this morning, now the cases for kids being contracting COVID are off the charts, the kids. And this is from reliable sources saying the numbers have increased by 150% or something like even higher than that. And it's all because they're like, we're not going to require you to wear masks, which of course is the reason why this shit is spreading. Because if we all wore masks like in other countries, this shit wouldn't be happening. This crap wouldn't be happening, but it is happening. And now we have to deal with idiots running into markets to make spectacles of themselves, not wearing a mask so they can be on a viral video for themselves because they need that attention or they've got something wrong upstairs. It's that kind of stuff. So we're seeing it. CAA lost like 200 people and 50 agents or something like that. My voiceover division got shuttered over at William Morris because they didn't have the money to survive through this pandemic, and they had to streamline themselves. So it's just all these people, everyone's getting caught up in this stuff. We had something really great about to happen for the Schmodown that was going to be announced, got shuttered because of COVID. So those are those things that they're all connected. And if you're irresponsible and you're stupid and you're not smart about how you approach these things, This is the repercussions of it all. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, the Thunder God talking about Georgia. Yeah, 826 students and 42 teachers had to be quarantined in Cherokee County, Georgia. And of course, they came out that head of the school board or whoever it was, superintendent, came out and said, we're still not going to require people to wear masks, which of course is the most asinine thing in the world. Force people to do it. Force them, because this is what's happening. And you know what they're going to do. And then you've got the same people who are saying, oh, you don't need to wear masks, or it's stupid to wear a mask, or we're grandstanding not wearing masks. The same people are saying, well, we shouldn't be setting money aside. That's not motivating people to get back to work. There's no jobs for people to get back to work, because everything is shuttered from the fact that the COVID situation has caused these businesses to shut down permanently. So it's this bullshit of this, don't look at it my left hand while I'm doing something with my right hand. It's that kind of stuff, and it needs to stop, to be honest with you. It gets me so angry watching this crap happen. And I apologize to some of you who don't want to, have a political bent in your side. I'm not trying to be political. I'm trying to be a humanist here. I'm not trying to be political. This was about jumping on top of this virus. If Democrats had done this, I'd be jumping all in their asses too, for not jumping into this thing correctly and handling it right off the bat, making people wear masks, making businesses shut down for like 3 months until they figure this all out, making people stay home, arresting people that didn't stay home, and forcing people to accept the situation and deal with that. And then we would be in a better situation. But of course, they cater to the rich, and in catering to the rich, they don't care about the lower classes who are getting predominantly affected by this way more than the rich classes and the ruling classes. And that's the situation here. So that all needs to stop, because I'm tired of seeing people who work hard to establish things or to work hard or start their careers, and they're getting laid off because of this COVID situation, because people are too irresponsible about it from the beginning. Yeah, arrest people. Yes, nay. Arrest people. Yes. You know why? Because by not wearing a mask and you possibly have COVID and you're passing it on to people, that is called, to me, your accessory to possible murder, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I think you absolutely should arrest these people who don't wear masks. You should absolutely put them in jail, because you're kicking people out of the jail now. Apparently, in some states where they have COVID, the inmates have COVID, they're kicking people out of those jails because they don't want it to spread throughout everybody. So in my opinion, I think you should absolutely put these people in jail for this situation and throw away the key. You want to be grandstanding, you want to jump into a market and make an ass of yourself, right to jail for 6 years. No questions asked, no trial, no nothing, right to jail. That's the way it should be. We do rid of habeas corpus, right? When we're in a war, we suspend that kind of stuff, right? This is a war. We are fighting against this COVID situation. We're fighting against this coronavirus, and we need to act as if it's a war and defeat this thing once and for all. And I don't mean be idiots shooting at a tornado. I mean legitimately look at our fellow American citizens, and if they're not following the guidelines, they should absolutely be put into jail. That's just that's absolutely 1,000%. And these school superintendents that are putting our children at risk with their irresponsible policies, they also should be put in jail. It's enough is enough. Until we have an extreme reaction to the situation, it's going to keep spreading. It's going to get worse. More waves are going to come because people are too dumb and they want to buy these stupid conspiracy theories of pandemic and all that shit, and people are going to die. Someone you know who knows someone is going to have someone lose somebody to this situation. And everybody who says it's not real should be, as I said in my tweet this morning, should be dragged into a room full of dead bodies from COVID, and then should be dragged into another room to talk to the family members who've lost loved ones to this disease and try to tell them with a straight face that it's not real. And when their balls liquefy, then their asses should be dumped off to some place where there's a hot spot, where people are walking around without a mask so they can cough and sneeze upon these people and get them infected, and then let them come back and tell me if it's not real, or tell us that it's not real. Enough is enough. We need to step forward in a stronger way in this country. We need to step forward and make these things happen. Sitting back and being passive or trying to be the better person or trying to be understanding or compassionate is not working. People are dying. Businesses are being shuttered. People are on unemployment. People are losing houses. They're getting evicted. They're losing money. This is a terrible situation. So people need to step up and make some changes here, and some strong changes to make this happen. All right, there we go. That's my rant. Eric Stevenson says, I do not understand how schools can say we can't enforce mask requirements, but measure short length, and monitor spaghetti strap width. Wow. Exactly. You know why, Eric? Because it's political. Because they're on one side of the political fence, and in their minds, if they acquiesce to what they think is the other side of the political fence, then they think they're betraying their politics, which is not true because it's got nothing to do with politics. This is about humanity and science. This has nothing to do with politics. And so, unfortunately, these people, they think that way. They're so limited in their thinking that they think that way. And because they're not dying and none of their family members are dying, they can look at this in an abstract or aloof kind of way and put these things in motion that can cause the death of other people's children. I tell you this right now, if some motherfucker made this decision and my child got by this, he wouldn't sleep a day. I would find him and handle business. That's ridiculous. You put my kids at risk for your irresponsibility. Fuck you. The parents need to be reacting stronger to these situations as well and calling these people to task and make them step forward and take responsibility for this stuff. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm going on this rant and I'm sorry, y'all. It's mornings. It says mornings with the Outlaw. It isn't just entertainment news. It's mornings hanging out with the Outlaw as well. I got 190 you all watching me live. Thank you so much here. We do have some another Streamlabs, some Streamlabs that have come through as well. Cinema Gorilla said, happy Tuesday, Outlaws. Let's do this. Thank you very much. John Lee said, do you think DC will address, sorry, John, the chat went forward. I can't bring it up on the chat, but I'll read it. John Lee said, do you think DC will address the Ezra situation? He is listed as a guest for Fando, but seems odd they have been silent on the issue. It is odd, isn't it, John? So I wonder what the situation is here. I wonder what they're going to reveal, what they're going to say. Yeah, he's listed as a guest. Doesn't mean he's going to show up. And if he shows up, maybe the way they're going to handle it, because it's virtual, no one's going to yell out an not inappropriate, but an appropriate question, I think, to question him about that situation, to get him to come forward. Maybe he'll issue a statement before the Fandom event. Maybe they're lining that up. Or maybe they're announcing that they're going to recast the Flash character for the newer versions of Flash, not the Justice League, Zack Snyder Justice League situation. They'll keep that with Ezra, but maybe for the new Flash, they'll recast and find someone new. So we'll see. I don't know, but it does seem odd that they haven't addressed it yet. It's a very good point, John. Cinema Gorilla also says, I'm glad Jim Lee stayed at DC, but let me say, as a 5-year unpaid intern at WB Studios, there's a lot of executives who got rid of a lot of people of color out of jealousy, hence the merger and a lot of things I hope getting revealed. Borg life. I don't know anything about that cinema, but I'm not surprised. I've seen that happen quite a lot from in different companies in my life. I mean, my current, my former outlet has 14 full-time white staff writers. No person of color is full-time as a staff writer at that outlet. Do your research. Look at that. They bring in people who are freelance, but they don't hire people of color to be full-time for their staff at this moment. So I find that to be very, very interesting, something to explore as well. So no surprise to see that. Jay Scotty for real said, stronger trilogy overall. Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy, including Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End, or Taylor Sheridan's Frontier trilogy, featuring Sicario, Hell or High Water, and Wind River. Wright's films are given the benefit of time. Jay Scotty, I got to tell you, in my opinion, it's Taylor Sheridan. I find more connection to that than I do the Cornetto trilogy. Although I enjoy the Cornetto trilogy, it is funny, and certainly Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are great in that, and Edgar Wright does a great job directing all three of them. Rosamund Pike in the third one as well, World's End. I absolutely love those. They're so much fun to watch. However, I feel the Taylor Sheridan ones speak more to who I am as a human being, who I am as a man. I feel more connected to those stories, the darker stories, the more grayer stories, the stories that don't have that much humor in them, and deal with the real situations. With Sicario, it's about what's actually going on in the drug war, not what they try to tell you in sound bites on TV. Hell or High Water, what's really going on in the frustration in the heartland of people who are getting foreclosed on by these nefarious banks doing shady shit. Absolutely. And Wind River, right? Some of the mistreatment of Native Americans and the mistreatment of women in this country being highlighted in that film as well. So that's a damn good movie with Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner and John Bernthal as well. To me, that is a fantastic. That's my trilogy. That speaks more to me than anything else. All right, so that's the Streamlabs and the Super Chats that have come through. Let's see. Muschietti is still attached. Muschietti is still attached as well to this situation, so we'll see how that plays out. All right, well, this is usually the time where I take a bit of a break and promote some stuff, so let me promote some stuff for you all. If you haven't watched it yet, last Tuesday's Outlaw Nation show, that was with Jeff Snyder. Jeff Snyder stopped by. We had a great conversation, a little bit late night conversation with him on the East Coast, talked about what's going on in 2020 with the movies, what he sees happening in 2021, what he wants to do with the award season. Remember, he's one of the co-hosts of FYC. What are his thoughts on FYC and his thoughts on award season? Gets into all that, gets into the sports situation, talks about the Schmodown a little bit as well. Plus, we have our usual ball-busting banter, and we go at each other. And we actually, near the end, have a little bit of a disagreement over the Ellen DeGeneres situation. He is more on the Ellen DeGeneres side, saying, when did it become okay to out your boss? And it's like, well, no, that's... I countered and said, it should always be okay to out your boss. That's the thing. If your boss is being mistreating people, being mean to people, being inappropriate with people, being racist, misogynistic, you should absolutely call out your boss. It's kind of your job to do so. That's why we have whistleblower rules set up in our laws so that people can do that freely and feel safe to do so. But we get into it, and it's a lot of fun, Jeff and I. You know how it goes. Of course, yesterday we had our latest episode of Game Time. Me and Jay Washington and Winston Marshall hanging out, having some fun. If you haven't watched it, it's got over 1,500 views already. Thank you all so much for watching that already. We have a really good time talking about what's happening in the world of the sports, kind of touching on that brawl between the A's and the Astros. We also get into what we think is going to happen with college football and the NFL as a result of what's happening with college football. And the last 20 minutes, we randomly get into a conversation about 80s professional wrestlers and some of the inappropriate ones that were created by Vince McMahon and the creative team over there at the WWE that would never fly today. Just one hint, Hakeem, the African Dream, who used to be the one-man gang. We get into a little bit of that. And Winston is seeing all of that for the first time. So you get to enjoy Winston's shock faces throughout that 20-minute segment. So a lot of fun. Another great time with those guys. If you're not watching Game Time every Monday, you're really missing out on a fun show. We do talk sports, but we also get into crazy other stuff as well, because we're all three good friends who enjoy talking that stuff. Of course, the most recent episode of Strong Style dropped on Friday as well. We got into the Adam Cole, Pat McAfee situation, got into the Kari Sane thing a little bit more, got into we revisited SummerSlam 1994 to watch the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart match, or talk about the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart steel cage match for the championship. And we also talked a little bit more about what we want to see coming out of this Raw Underground stuff that's going on with the WWE. So we got into that as well. Of course, today is Tuesday. So this morning we dropped a new episode of the Top 10 show. I hope you all are watching that or listening to it. We really enjoy doing it every week. We're kicking ass doing it as well with the top 10, having a lot of fun, and people are responding so well to us and what we're putting together here and how we're entertaining them still in what we got going on. And what's really funny is we doing the top 10. What do we do today? We dropped it this morning. You know, these topics kind of run into themselves. We had the top 10 1990s summer comedies. That was from last week. And then we also had a golden ticket. Now, the golden ticket is our new show with our fans. They get involved here. The golden ticket, our patrons compete. So we had a new show drop there as well. A new episode of that. So you can go find that on the Top 10 YouTube channel. Get involved there and have a little fun with us there. And of course, is that it? Oh, and the Cinephiles. We had a new Cinephiles. But guess what's dropping this week? Boom. That's right. First episode is dropping this week. Laura Kelly and I, The Jedi Way. We are going to get into some Star Wars stuff this week. It is a pre-recorded episode. It's not live. Laura is not comfortable going live yet, so we're going to do a few of these pre-recorded, see how she feels, see if she starts to feel a little more comfortable, and then maybe we'll do a live show and see how it plays out for her. If she feels comfortable, the fans are cool, all of that. So, but the first episode of Jedi Way, I think we're recording it Wednesday night, and we'll drop it that night into Thursday morning. That'll be a lot of fun as well. So looking forward to that. So don't miss out on that. And of course, Impolite Truths, the politics show we dropped here, Dorina and I. This thing is over 5,000 views already, almost 800 likes on it already. So if you haven't watched that, 2.5 hours of us just talking about what's going on in the world of politics. And it's our first show. So we certainly went into a lot of places, and we had a lot of people chiming in with comments, with questions, with things they wanted us to answer. So that was a lot of fun. So don't miss out on that episode if you haven't watched it yet. Really good time between me and Dorina Arellano, and that'll be happening every 2 weeks. So it'll be Impolite Truths Jedi Way, Impolite Truths Jedi Way. That's how we're working it, because I didn't want to overwhelm myself, and I wanted to create space for people to accept 2 new shows on the channel, but not feel like they're going to have to watch so much content every week. It's more a matter of just balancing it out a little bit more. So we're having fun with that, and I really appreciate her being a part of it. She's so fantastic. Trust me, is leaving no stone unturned with these shows. Yeah, wait till I jump into my Twitch stuff. The Twitch stuff is coming really, really soon as well. So there'll be 2 of those. Can I go look at that shirt Rocha was wearing? Ball. Oh yeah, which one? This one, the samurai stormtrooper. Yeah, it's pretty badass, man. Pretty badass. So. I love that. I got this on Amazon the other day. I was like, oh, I gotta have this shirt. Now let me take the banner down so you guys can see it. You all can see a little better version of it. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Shirt popping with a little stormtrooper doing the samurai stuff. So pretty badass. Couldn't resist it. You know, as a fan of Star Wars and samurai movies, I couldn't resist it. Also got an extra large so I can wash it and it'll shrink just a little bit, because I'm not a large anymore, ladies and gentlemen. That COVID-19 has got inside me, unfortunately. So let's see. On the promo, which one on the promo? Oh, on the promo. Right. Well, that shirt was made, Tushka, by Brian Ward. Brian Ward added that logo on there. It was just a black shirt that I was wearing. She's wearing a black shirt. If you notice on her sleeve, there's the blue symbol as well on her sleeve. So that's, it's a great little combo of both of us there on the cover. And I can't wait. Laura and I had a really great conversation on Friday about it. And we're excited to drop the first episode and talk about it. And I think, and what I said, we just grab one concept and we talk about it. So I think this is going to be an introductory episode about Star Wars and about what it is that brings us to the franchise, keeps us coming back. What is it that attracted us and keeps us coming back to the franchise? What is the concept? What is the theory? What is the approach that was done in Star Wars that makes us come back over and over again to enjoy it and give it some love? So there we go. But it's the tweet will never die. It'll never die, ladies and gentlemen. The tweet will never die, for God's sakes. One time I visited a prostitute during the war, and my life's been a living hell ever since. Anybody get that reference? Does anybody get that reference? A Lord of the Rings show? What? No. Oh my gosh. Lord of the Rings show. All right. Andrew G donated another stream live here. Thank you, Andrew, man. You've been very kind this morning. He said, I'm looking forward to this Cassian Andor series. Every time we hear something about it, I hope this one works out. I really liked Luna in Rogue One, Diego Luna in Rogue One, and would love to see a rebel spy thriller with those darker themes that I loved from Rogue One. That's a great point, my man. So let's jump into one of our next stories. Certainly it's that one. Adria Arjona has been named as a cast member for that series that you just mentioned there, Andrew G. She's set to star opposite Diego Luna in that series. They haven't given it a name yet, but it is a spin-off series off of Rogue One. I know you're like, wait, everybody died at the end of Rogue One. Clearly, it's a prequel series, so we're going to see a little bit more of Diego Luna's story and his character. Denise Goff, Genevieve O'Reilly, who you guys remember as Mon Mothma from that, Stellan Skarsgård, and Kyle Soller are also on board for this. And Tony Gilroy, who co-wrote Rogue One, is set to write the pilot for the series as well. It'll feature Rebel agent Cassian Andor prior to the events of Rogue One in the early days of the rebellion against the Empire. It's been described as a spy thriller, and Alan Tudyk is set to reprise his role as K2SO, his sidekick. Arjona, you guys might know Arjona. She was in Pacific Rim Uprising. She co-starred with Boyega and Scott Eastwood in that movie. Not one of my favorites, but she was good in the film. She also has been seen in Life of the Party, Triple Frontier. Y'all remember Triple Frontier? And in Michael Bay's newest film that was on Netflix, Six Underground, she's going to be in Morbius next, opposite Jared Leto and Matt Smith. So I like this casting very much. I like her as an actress very much. I think she's got that kind of like real strength as opposed to put on fake strength that you sometimes see from actors or actresses who don't 100% buy into the fact that they are kick ass. So that kind of stuff. I like that she radiates that. She's a strong actress. She's got 586,000 followers on Instagram. So certainly someone with some clout here and some attention as well. Let's see if we've got some more here. She is Latina, of course, and it's good to go. But she is, let's see with that. She was born in Puerto Rico, raised in Mexico City. And so she's daughter of a Puerto Rican mother and a Guatemalan father. So there you go. Who is Ricardo Arjona, or Arjona, however you say it. He's a renowned singer-songwriter in Latin America who used to take her along on tours. So she's been doing this for quite some time. She studied at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute, and she worked at several restaurants in New York in order to pay her bills and sustain her life. So respect to her for, kind of working her way into this situation for herself. She's been in a number of things. She was also in True Detective. In 2015, she had 6 episodes that she was in for that. She's person of interest. Let's see, Emerald City. Some of y'all remember Emerald City. She was in that as Dorothy Gale. She played Dorothy in Emerald City. Pretty strong thing for her to take on. And she was in Good Omens as well. That recent, is it Amazon Prime show that was there with Michael Sheen and David Tennant. So certainly a good resume for her. So to step into this situation, I'm excited about it as well. Having a Latina actress get involved in this with Diego Luna already as a Latino actor leading this thing, I couldn't be happier, to be honest with you. So I wonder how much more of this we'll see. We'll see as it gets going. People like nice Central American representation. Absolutely. Latinx casting was inevitable. If it is Cassian story, no, that doesn't have to be inevitable, Eric. I'm happy it's happening, but it doesn't have to be inevitable. You don't cast black people just to cast black people because it's a black story. Like, you got to expand it. I like that it's in here, but it doesn't only have to be. I like the mix. The mix is always good. The mix is always good in this situation. Let's see. The new cast members was well. Obviously, Nate, things have been put on hold with COVID and all of that, and I think they went back into the drawing board and moved some things around with it. So I think they're reshooting or starting over again some of the shoots for that. Let's see. Hill Nellum sent me a Streamlab. He said, "Dope shirt, Rocha. I want to be stylish like the Outlaw." Off topic. Please don't say I'm stylish. I rewatched the movie Sneakers last night and forgot how much I enjoyed it. Right. Suggestions of under the radar thrillers that may not be very popular. Wow, that's a great question, Hill. Yeah, Sneakers is great, right? Robert Redford, Mary McDonnell, Ben Kingsley, I think, Sidney Poitier, I think River Phoenix as well, if I'm correct. Shit, why couldn't that have been my 5-pointer instead of that damn Men in Black situation? Who else is in this thing? Yeah, I was right. Dan Aykroyd, David Strathern as well. David Strathern in this from Phil Alden Robinson. Sneakers still holds up. Really good film. And Redford is great, just really smooth and cool, like you want him to be. And Poitier is fantastic in the film as well. Under the radar thrillers, that's a great question. Does Haywire qualify? I mean, not a lot of people saw that in the theater, and I thought it was really good. I enjoy the hell out of that thing. And I don't know if a lot of people saw that one necessarily. So that's another one you should give a chance. And it's what's her face? It's Gina Carano. Of course, it's voiced over by Laura San Giacomo. She does the voiceover for her in the film. But it's a good question. 10 underrated thrillers. Let's see. We'll get some questions. Let's see. Hush. A lot of people were mentioning Hush. This one with Mike Flanagan, directed by Mike Flanagan, and Maddle Young plays the lead in that one. Let's see. I've seen it in a couple places. Gerald's Game is another one that's a weird one. That's a Stephen King one that's based off something he wrote and stars Carla Gugino. Let's see. The Invitation is interesting as well. A lot of people talking about The Invitation. I like The Gift. The Gift is a good one too, with Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall. Joel Edgerton wrote and directed that one. That is a pretty good one that I've seen. What's the Visitor? Is it Visitor, the one with Dan Stevens, or The Guest? One of those two. I like that one as well. If you haven't seen that one, that's a nice 80s throwback thriller like The Hitcher, that kind of thing, that people should definitely check out. I like that. I just saw Crawl for the second time again on Amazon Prime. If you haven't watched Crawl, for God's sakes, that is fantastic. Blood Simple from the Coen brothers is another one that you all need to watch if you haven't watched that one yet. I give love to Disturbia. Disturbia, absolutely. The one with Shia LaBeouf. I thought Disturbia was actually damn good for a Rear Window kind of reboot. I thought they did a really nice job with that one. So those are some ones, Hill, that I would recommend for you to enjoy if you haven't gotten into that. All right, we've got 170 all watching us live. We had about almost 200 watching. We're dropping a little bit here. But the likes, would love the likes. We've got 147 likes. Please give us another like. Get us up to 150 at least before we wrap this thing up. I'd appreciate it very, very much. Green Room. Yeah, Jay, Scotty, I got to watch Green Room. You know, it cost me that match against Dan Murrell in the triple threat match. If I had watched Green Room, I'd have known who the hell Patrick Stewart was playing in that movie. So I should at one of these days watch it for sure. Tim Franco recommending the new La Llorona on Shudder is a great thriller. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Guess I need to watch The Guest. Yeah, The Guest is fantastic. You got to watch The Guest. Dan Stevens is so good in The Guest. Don't be fooled by the fact that he was in Beauty and the Beast and Downton Abbey. He is so chilling in The Guest. Damn good in The Guest. So there you go. Not your planet, dude. I mean, I wanted to try it. Clearly not the right one. Oh, Breathe. Yeah, Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe is good too. Yeah, the one with Stephen Lang. That's another great one. Absolutely. All right, we got to wrap up here in the next 8 minutes. So I want to get into this last story and just make sure there's no Streamlabs and no Super Chats that have come through. All right, just wanted to make there. Thank you so much. Let me see here. The last story we've got lined up for us today is this cat right here, Zac Efron. Apparently, Zac Efron is rebooting, as I say, rebooting Three Men and a Baby. Gordon Gray, who made The Way Back, is producing. He is going to star in this remake. Zac Efron is. It's intended for Disney Plus. Gordon Gray is going to be. It's initially, and this is going to be a remake of a remake of a remake, because the French film is the original Three Men, and then you had the American remake Three Men and a Baby, then the sequel Three Men and a Little Lady. Of course, both those films starred Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, and Ted Danson, and Nancy Travis as well. The last one was directed by Leonard Nimoy and proved to. Oh wait, no, the first one was directed by Leonard Nimoy and made $100 million. It was one of the first live-action Disney films to do so. And then Nimoy did not come back to direct the sequel, and that may be why it wasn't as strong. Let's see. The search for a new director is underway, so he is going to be part of this thing. And, it's interesting because Zac Efron's been doing some interesting roles lately with that Ted Bundy situation and, of course, jumping into Baywatch and him going that series he has on Netflix. Look. No one is less in the demographic for that show than I am. And I watched the first 3 episodes behind my girlfriend's back because she doesn't like the idea that he's going off doing stuff. And I love the hell out of it. I thought Zac Efron was very real, very open about what he's experiencing. And you're watching him experience this. Yeah, yes, he's a superstar. Yes, he's, ladies love him. He's got those abs, blah, blah, blah. But he's still a human being. And a human being who is open to experiences, an actor, a creative person who is open to changing his mind and looking at things in a new way based on experience. I think that's a good thing to explore. I think it's a good thing to have and enjoy. So for me personally, I'm enjoying this thing with Zac Efron and enjoying what he's doing on that series. I don't know if you guys are watching it, but you guys need to watch it. He's asking me what show this is. J. Scotty Friel is. Let me see. I forget what it's called. It's like Zac Efron. Let's see. Netflix. Let me just type in Netflix and see what comes up. Yeah, Down to Earth. That's what it's called. Down to Earth with Zac Efron. And it's a travel show, and he goes around the world with a wellness expert named Darren Olean. and they go and explore like foods and locations and areas and explore healthy, sustainable ways to live in the world. It's damn good. And probably the show doesn't get made if you don't have Zac Efron, but Zac Efron throws himself into the show. So it's damn good. Now, this idea of 3 men and a baby, remember Zac Efron did that film a few years ago with the 3 guys with Michael B. Jordan. What was it called? This Precious Moment or something like that, or The Awkward Truth. I forget what it was called, but like the 3 of them were, and that was a terrible, terrible movie. So hopefully if they find the right director for 3 men and a baby and the right 2 other guys to be a part of this, I think it could be fun. I mean, why not bring Dave Franco back in? Dave Franco would be fun to be reunite with his Neighbors co-star there and see what they can create together as well. And what if you bring in women? Does it have to be 3 men and a baby? Could be 3 people and a baby, or it could be some different version. It would be funny to have a woman who's not equipped to have a child or doesn't want a child be a part of this situation as well. It could be interesting. I'm just saying, throwing it out there. I know the premise of the first one is that, all 3 of them slept with her. They don't know who the father is, so they all take over the baby when she takes off. But this could be an interesting new twist on it for sure. That awkward moment. Yeah, thank you, Johnny. Appreciate the heads up on that one. That awkward moment is what it was called. All right, let's see. Andrew G had a Streamlabs here. Oh, 2 of them here. Tushka said, I was hoping you were talking about the band Steppenwolf coming back since they deserve all the love they can get. What is your favorite Steppenwolf song? I could listen to the breakdowns on Magic Carpet Ride all day long on repeat. Yeah, there you go. Magic Carpet Ride. That's my answer. I love that Steppenwolf song. No, wait. We Get Out. Isn't Get Out on the Highway? Get your motor running. Looking for adventure and whatever comes my way. Let me see here real quick. Born to be Wild. Yeah, that's my favorite. Born to be Wild. They can't touch that. I mean, Magic Carpet Ride's good. Ooh, Magic Carpet Ride's good, but like Born to be Wild is my favorite, I have to say, Tushka. And Andrew G says, hey, Rocha, as a fan of British TV, have you watched Marcella on Netflix? What did you think of that? Okay, Andrew, I liked the first season a lot. I liked her as an actress. I can't remember her name right now, but I like her as an actress. I enjoy watching her work. But that second season started off and I was like, I don't want to see a serial killer dismembering a child. It just wasn't for me, man. I just tuned off after that. But I loved the first season. And I think maybe I'd hit my limit of those kinds of shows where it's like the person, you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. You don't know if they're real or not. So, and I know there's a 3rd season coming. So, but it just wasn't my jam, my man, after the first season. But I did enjoy the first season. So if any of you are on the fence about the first season, watch the first season of Marcella or Marcella, however you pronounce it, there on Netflix. Certainly great work by the actress. I can't remember her name right now. I saw her live do Closer in London. Live, but I cannot remember her name offhand right now. I get her confused with Isla Fisher, even though she looks nothing like Isla Fisher. I get her confused with Isla Fisher all the time. All right, let's move on to our last couple of stories real quick because I know we got to wrap up there, but we'll see what happens with Zac Efron. Once they get a director, we'll see what direction they're going with. Hilary Swank dropped a new trailer for Away. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but that it was involved here as well. Away, really interesting stuff from her. She is in space. Her family, Josh Charles playing her husband, are left back on Earth. They're on this 3-year mission, I think, to go to Mars. And it's basically, it seems like it chronicles from the trailer what experiences her entire crew and her go through, an international crew, what they go through as they're on this mission for 3 years, and what they experience heading off into space as they're out there for so long. What happens to their family, and there's some dramatic moments that certain things happen to Josh Charles in the trailer. She's not there to be able to nurse him back to health or to help him and their daughter. So all of that, you got a Russian, you got an Indian, you got an Asian woman. So there's all Indian man, Russian man, Asian woman, all people involved in this. So an international approach. Plus there's questions about her ability to lead. So for me personally, Hilary Swank is such a damn good actress. It's great to see her coming back in something like this. Hopefully the series is good. I love space stories. I'm a big fan of space stories. Ad Astra's on HBO right now. If you haven't watched it, I'm a big fan of. So I'd like to see her kick ass in this, and hopefully she will. If you guys haven't watched the trailer is out there for you to watch on here. Did I put that on the description? Did I put the Steppenwolf? Oh yeah, I did put Steppenwolf. So let's move on to that too. The Steppenwolf situation is happening. Zack Snyder teased his version of Steppenwolf. It's pretty cool, the original design. Let me see if I can make a copy of this, or let me see if I can get a picture up for you guys to take a look at if you haven't seen it yet. It's a pretty badass picture for sure. Let me see. Put it on the desktop. Oh, okay. Never mind. Let me do it as a screenshot. I'll do it as a screenshot so that they can't come after me for that stuff. All right, let me put it up on the thing for you all. Usually I have these things good to go on screenshots. Let me see if it's put up there. You guys are watching my narrative live as I talk about it. There we go. All right, cool. Give it about 3 seconds. It'll click up on the StreamYards and I'll pop it up. So anyway, he dropped it. There it is. Boom. There it is. Look at that. That's the design for Steppenwolf there. He said, just working today, pulled this out of the editorial. Sorry, he's low resolution, but I've seen him in all his high res glory, and he's a thing to behold. Quick question. How many Fs do you think he gives? So very powerful stuff there. I love the design of this. This Steppenwolf looks scary and intimidating. Looks like he could destroy anything. Certainly different than that Steppenwolf we saw in the other Justice League that was dropped there by DC and Warner Brothers, of course, by Joss Whedon as well. So I like this version. So obviously, clearly, we're going to get a darker Steppenwolf, a darker approach to this Justice League through Zack Snyder. And him saying high-res glory, that tells you right there that version of Steppenwolf is what you're going to see in Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is, I mean, if this thing turns out the way that he wants it to turn out, a lot of people are thinking are going to have to eat crow or going to have to, sit back and kind of give it its due and give it its respect. I see some of my fellow colleagues going after these Zack Snyder people, the people who support the Snyder Cut. And look, I'm not saying there haven't been some people some of the Snyder Cut fans who've been a little bit inappropriate, or a little bit untoward, or have said the wrong thing sometimes. Absolutely. I've seen that too. But by the same token, being condescending to them, being high and mighty towards them, stepping on the fandom, denigrating the fandom, or treating them like they're nobodies, that's not the way to go either. You incur their wrath by acting the fool. Don't tell other people to be the bigger person if you can't be the bigger person in those situations as well. Now, this doesn't mean people who've come out and said some really inappropriate things, some of the fans who've threatened physical violence, or threatened sexual assault or sexual attacks, fuck those fans. Those fans go straight to hell. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular fans who come out and been pissed off about the fact that you were against the Zack Snyder thing, or were not necessarily 100% behind the Zack, or didn't like that you weren't 100% behind the Zack Snyder Justice League happening. Those fans is what I'm talking about. Don't denigrate those fans. Don't crap on those fans. They loved this idea of it happening. They wanted it to happen. And yes, are they a little bit incorrect in gloating a little bit about it? Yes, because this was never going to happen without COVID happening, without the HBO Max streaming service happening, and none of the fandom predicted that happening. So they can't take credit, necessarily full credit, for this happening, but they can take some credit because it was the combo of their desire to see this version of Justice League combined with HBO Max launching as a streaming service, and combined with the COVID situation shutting down production, that made them take a look at the possibility of bringing Justice League over to HBO Max. That made it happen. So yes, the fans can definitely take credit for it, just not full credit for it. I want to make that very, very clear. So all right, I got my 2 cents out on that one. All right, I think we're done for the situation. I think we're done today for the Outlaw Nation, for the Mornings with the Outlaw. I got to get going. I got SCN Live in 10 minutes. I do want to say one last thing, and that is I'm very glad that Lakeith Stanfield has come out and said that he's okay. There were some issues that were going down last night. He was posting some things on Instagram about combining, alcohol with some of these drugs, prescription drugs, and what have you. Said that he likes the situation because he can only hurt himself and no one else. And so, but Patton Oswalt tweeted out some support, saying, please, anyone who knows him, get in touch with him, with Lakeith Stanfield, find out what's going on. Then he Lakeith Stanfield later took down those Instagram posts, issued her saying he was okay. And his publicists, his managers came out and said he was okay. So I'm glad to see that. The situation in life, I had a panic attack over the weekend that completely devastated me and paralyzed me for 3 or 4 hours. I know what it's like to be in a bad situation in mental health sometimes, emotion. I know what it's like to be in that place where you're like, oh man, fuck it, So I'm very glad that Lakeith was able to walk himself back out of that place that he was clearly in last night. And, we all go through it. And the fact that he wanted to make it public, that's a positive too. That's a cry for help. And so a lot of people, it seems like, stepped up
to try to get in touch with him and make sure he was okay. So it seems like he's fine. So there we go. That's a positive way to end this show. I think it isn't, it doesn't have to go all the way down. So, all right. Thank you all so much for joining me here on the Outlaw Nation channel, and especially joining me for Mornings with the Outlaw, a little old school Mornings with the Outlaw without Alex, of course. And we send her the best and hope things work out for her and her situation she's dealing with her house and some of her equipment, and hope everything's okay on her end. We send her love and thoughts of comfort as well. And of course, I do want to send one special shout out, and I should have done this maybe earlier in the show. I apologize, but mad love to Wendy Lee. I don't know if any of you know, or maybe you've seen already, but sadly, Wendy Lee lost one of her beloved children, I would say, her puppies. Falcor passed away yesterday, or they had to put him to sleep, I think, and which is a very sad situation. And Wendy and Dustin, of course, dealing with a tragic loss in their lives. So if you have a moment, please tweet at Wendy and tell her how much you love her, tell her how much you're thinking about her, and that send her any kind of condolences or thoughts of comfort during this time, because losing a pet, I know for a lot of people, losing a pet is a devastating thing. My girlfriend, she basically co-owns her sister's two dogs, and one of them is getting older. And she came back this weekend from having helped her sister move and take care of those dogs. She was sad. She was sad that she's seeing him get older, and so it's a sad situation when you're losing someone who, in essence, or losing a pet that in essence is a child to you. So I send a lot of love to Wendy, and hope you all do as well. Reach out, just give her some love. And Wendy, I love you. I'm sorry for your loss. Deeply, deeply sorry. I loved Falcor. I loved messing with his head, loved playing around with him and having fun with him. So just sending you a lot of love, Wendy. All right, that's it. Please subscribe down below to the channel if you haven't yet. Would love to. We're marching towards that 14,000 mark. Want to get to that 15,000 mark, the 20,000 mark. So please subscribe to the channel. Give it some love there. Follow me at the Rocha Says on all the social media platforms. And don't forget to see me in about 9 minutes live on SCN Live over there, hosting that crazy show today. It's going to be a lot of fun, and much love to you all. And we'll talk to you next time for another brand new episode of Mornings with the Outlaw this Thursday morning at 8:30 in the morning. Y'all take care of yourself until then. Much love. Much love.